webinar, How to Apply to Teach in the USA with EPI. I'm Kimberly Daggerhart, Director of Communications here at Educational Partners International, and we are so glad to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. You'll have the opportunity to submit questions by typing your questions into the comment box at any time during the presentation. We'll collect these and address them at the end. I'd now like to introduce our presenter, Jessica, our content specialist here at EPI.
Hi everyone, as Kimberly mentioned, my name is Jessica and I work as EPI's content specialist. I am from the mountains of North Carolina, and before working for EPI, I taught English at the community college level, and I'm really excited to have a job that combines my passion for education with my passion for cultural exchange. Today we will be talking about how to apply to teach in the U.S. with Educational Partners International. During this webinar, we will be going over how to start your application and what documents you will need for it. We will also explain the purpose of the application and give you some tips that will make the application process go as quickly as possible. If you are joining us for the first time, we are Educational Partners International, or EPI for short, and we are a cultural exchange program that brings international teachers to teach in K-12 schools in the United States. Our mission is to bring some of the best teachers from around the world to come to the U.S. to share their cultural experiences. As you can read here, our goal is to strengthen K-12 education by discovering and empowering the world's best international teachers to facilitate authentic cultural exchange. The results include teachers and students that become lifelong learners, embrace 21st century skills, and serve as change agents in an interconnected world of global understanding. While we work with schools across the southern United States, our office is in North Carolina, which is about where the arrow is on the map there. We would love to know where you are from too, so go ahead and tell us in the comments below. Now that you have more of a background on who we are, it is important to understand EPI's process. Our process for bringing teachers like you to the United States looks like this. First, you complete an application so that we know you are eligible for our program and will be a strong candidate for cultural exchange. The application process includes filling out a thorough online form, uploading official documents, and 2 interviews with EPI team members. After you've completed the application process, you are moved to the approved stage, where you interview at one of our partnered schools. Once you have completed a successful school interview, you are placed in the school and become an official EPI program member. So let's take a closer look at the first step, the application process. EPI's application process is thorough, but it does a few important things for you. First, filling out the application creates a professional profile for schools to look at when they are considering teachers for interviews. We also use this information to decide whether or not you meet our eligibility requirements. Some of the requirements for being an EPI teacher are that you are currently teaching, you have 2 years full-time teaching experience, and that you have the equivalent of a U.S. bachelor's degree. Finally, the application helps you collect the documents you will need to get a visa, travel to the United States, and to get a teaching license. So you have read about EPI and our requirements, and you have decided that you want to apply to teach in the USA. How do you get started? Well, the first step is to go to our website, teachwithepi.com/teachers. Once you are there, you will scroll down until you see the orange button that says click here to apply. Then you will need to answer some questions about your eligibility. After you answer the questions and click the submit button, you'll be able to make an account with your email address and start your application. Once you start your application, it is important that you prioritize completing your personal and professional profile as soon as possible so that you can quickly move to the next stage of the application. EPI's application requires documentation to be sure that you are able to travel and teach in the United States. So what documents will you need to get to complete your application? Here is a list of the documents you will need to upload to your application before you are eligible for school interviews. We ask for copies of all pages of your passport, diploma, transcripts, criminal background checks, proof of employment, and a credential evaluation from an NACES approved company. If you have a valid driver's license and wish to drive in the United States, we will also need a copy of your driver's license, but driving is not a requirement for the program. When you are first starting your application, you should prioritize uploading the passport pages, diplomas, and transcripts because we will need these documents before we can invite you for interviews with EPI team members. The only place you should upload these documents is to the official EPI website. To protect your privacy, you should never upload any documents to Facebook. We will not accept any of your documents through Facebook. One of the most common questions our candidates ask about the application process is how long does it take? As we've already stated, the application process includes processing all of your documents and 2 interviews with EPI team members. So how long the process takes often depends on how quickly you can collect and upload the appropriate documents. So here are some tips on what you can do to make sure the application process goes quickly and smoothly as possible. First, be sure to read all of our requirements before you apply. You can find our requirements at teachwithepi.com/teacher-requirements. When completing the application, you will need to be sure to read and follow all directions on the application carefully. You will also want to proofread all answers on your application, as any typos or mistakes made with spelling and dates can make the process take longer. Finally, you will need to create your account with a valid email address and check your email regularly. We will only be able to discuss your application through email, so it is important that you are looking for emails from EPI about your application status. Before we answer your questions, we would like to show you a brief video of some of our teachers sharing their experiences in the United States with EPI. After this video, we will be answering your questions in a live question and answer session. So here are their stories.
I came to the United States not just to teach, but to make a difference in American students' lives.
When my friends told me about the EPI program to become the cultural ambassador as an exchange teacher here, it sounds like, I want to try it.
Basically, I joined EPI because I've always had passion for cultural exchange.
For me, teaching is the most enjoyable and the most effective way of changing the world.
It's a give and take learning. They don't only learn from me, but I also learn from them.
I feel honored and excited to be the cultural ambassador of the Philippines to the U.S. in the field of education.
The reason why I joined EPI is because it's my childhood dream to teach in the United States.
We are happy because the EPI gave us this opportunity to serve the American kids and to share our culture to them.
It took me a long time to fulfill my American dream, and it was because of EPI.
I will also have the opportunity to share this passion with everybody and hopefully make a difference in my students' journey to success.
They told me, you are the only Asian person here. And I told them, all right, this Asian person will make change on you.
So one of my students, I heard that she applied for an exchange student in the Philippines. She said that, you know what, I am very curious of what I have just saw in your video.
So with the support of Filipino teachers and also other EPI teachers that are coming from other countries, you will really feel like everything is really worth doing as a teacher.
I started watching the football games and all the other sports games of my students to be in a community where I belong.
The community was very supportive. It's not only the school, but also some of the churches. They come together to help me put out my house. They put together furniture.
And we're so proud because me and my wife teaching together, sharing everything to the kids, to the American kids, and at the same time, we're learning also their culture.
We both know that when we work together towards a common goal, we can make it. We can make it happen.
All right, so now it is time for our question and answer session. I will be answering any questions that you have left in the comments, so if you have not yet submitted your questions, please ask them now. Also, we encourage you to tell us about yourself. We would love to know where you are from and what you are currently teaching. I'm joined again by Kimberly, who has collected the questions you've submitted during the presentation. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Jessica. And hello to all of the teachers joining us from around the world today. We have teachers from Jamaica, Argentina, the Philippines, Indonesia, Mexico, South Africa, and more. A really big group today.
That's great.
All right, so to get started, the first question is, are you looking for Spanish teachers?
So yes, we place teachers in all subjects that we teach here in the United States. Spanish is one of those subjects. We also place teachers in science, music, art, math, special education, physical education.
So basically everything, almost every subject.
Basically everything.
We did have an unusual question. What about building construction and technical drawing? Seems like engineering in some ways, right?
So I'm not sure about that specific subject, but if you would like to know more about that could fit into some vocational areas, you will need to email us at team@teachwithepi.com. They are the experts on what subjects we accept.
All right, so our next question is, how long does it take to apply?
Okay, so I touched on this a little bit earlier. So there isn't a set amount of time that it takes to apply. You will be at the end of the application process after you've uploaded all of your documents. They've been processed by our team members, and you've done your interviews with the 2 EPI team members. So it really depends on how quickly you can get the correct documents uploaded.
Okay, our next question is, can I bring my child with me to the USA?
Yes, so we do sponsor J2 visas. You will have to consider your specific situation and the age of your children and whether or not you'll be able to financially support your whole family in the United States, but we will sponsor J2 visas for your children and your spouse.
All right, great. So our next question is, how can I restart my application?
Okay, so I think this might be someone who was put on hold, and in EPI language, on hold means that we have paused your application, or you have asked to pause your application for various reasons, life reasons, the documentation wasn't correct. There are all kinds of reasons your application might be on hold. So if your application is on hold, the best first step to make is to email us at team@teachwithepi.com, and we will give you the next steps and tell you about your eligibility for being placed off of hold.
All right, so that email address again is team@teachwithepi.com if you want to take your application off of the hold status or restart it.
Yes.
Okay, our next question, is there an application fee?
So no, EPI does not charge an application fee, so you won't get charged anything for starting your application. There are costs associated with the documents we ask for. For example, the criminal record check will cost money, and the certified translations, you'll usually have to pay the translator. So you can expect to spend some money on the application, but EPI will never ask you for an application fee.
All right, great. Our next question is there an age limit?
So no, there is no age limit regardless of how old you are, as long as you meet the eligibility requirements. So that's that you're currently teaching, you have a bachelor's degree, you have 2 years full-time teaching experience, and a couple of other more minor requirements. As long as you meet them, you are eligible to apply.
All right, so we have time for one more question for this session, and that question is, what is the deadline to apply?
Okay, so EPI does rolling applications, so we accept applications year-round. There is no hard deadline to apply. Right now, we are accepting applications for the 2019 school year, which means all of our applications that get placed will start in August of 2019.
Okay, that's our last question for today's session. If you didn't get to ask your question, or if we didn't have a chance to answer your question live, you can go ahead and leave that in the comments. Just know that we will be answering all remaining questions in the comments after the broadcast.
All right, thank you, Kimberly.
Thanks so much, Jessica.
So now that you know more about how to apply, let's talk about next steps. First, if you have not yet applied, go to teachwithepi.com and start the application process. If you have started the application but have questions about how to continue, email us your questions at team@teachwithepi.com. Finally, go to teachwithepi.com/webinars to sign up for our future webinars and to watch all of our previous webinars. To finish off our presentation today, I would like to leave you with this quote as a reminder of why cultural exchange is so important and why we are so eager to bring teachers like you to the United States. J. William Fulbright was a U.S. Senator and the founder of the Fulbright program. He said, "The essence of intercultural education is the acquisition of empathy, the ability to see the world as others see it, and to allow for the possibility that others may see something that we have failed to see or may see it more accurately." We are dedicated to helping teachers like you come to the U.S. so that we may learn from each other's unique perspectives, just like Fulbright talks about here. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any further questions, email us at team@teachwithepi.com. Also, be sure to sign up for our webinar mailing list at teachwithepi.com/webinars. On behalf of everyone at EPI, thank you for joining us and have a good day, everybody.